What is up, guys? It's your boy Mo. Now, today we're back in another video. Today we're back to a video called 2000s Basketball Was Fucking Nuts. I probably shouldn't have said that on YouTube. They probably going to do something to my channel for that. I really hope they don't. I'm probably gonna cut this out when I'm editing. But this is called 2000s Basketball Was Insane. Just put this as a title. I'm not finna say that for. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And yeah, we are reacting to more NBA videos. Y'all already know how I have my big obsession with basketball, and that's damn near what I do every single day. So that's what I'm saying. We just gonna get to the video though. I'm not even gonna lie. I was so interested in watching this video because like as soon as you mention niggas like Allen Iverson, 90s Kobe, and all of them, and Tracy McGrady, bro. Like I'm sorry, but I'm be like this game. I'm like these. I'm like these. Y'all, yo, I like when my dress gets so long I can't even see my ears. Like my ears is so like I be so insecure about like my ears and shit, gang. Like I don't know what it is, but it's like soon as my dress gets to that length where it can hide the side of my face in my ears, I love it, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I like that. I just feel like when I cut them the last time, like all my insecurities just came back, and I could tell from other people too. Like I wasn't really getting called cute as much as the ladies used to call me way before I cut them. It's like these is forever staying on my head until I turn old. Cause then when I turn old, I will know my face is actually fully structured now. You know what I mean? You know, like when y'all grown and y'all just fully grown already. Like, you know, I'm gonna just say something like that. But yeah, let's get into this video though.
In the 2000s might have been the most dysfunctional era in league history. There were fights in the crowd, refs getting caught gambling on games, and entire teams falling apart behind the scenes. And somehow, the league didn't just survive, it thrived. This was a time where basketball was at its ugliest. Slower, more physical, just messy. Stuck between the flash of the 90s and whatever the hell the league was becoming. But out of all that chaos came some of the biggest names we've ever seen. The rise of the most hyped prospect in sports history. The guy who made you want to get your ass back in the gym at 2 in the morning. And the player who changed the culture of basketball forever. This is what the NBA was really like in the 2000s.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. When I played college basketball this year, bro, I'm telling you right now, bro, I'm pulling the most Allen Iverson shit ever, bro. I'm gonna get cornrow barrel twist, and I got a headband over there, it's like a black one, and you know that's gonna match with the uniform. And then I'm gonna give me some Allen Iverson shoes, and then I'm gonna just be every time I go for cross up, it's gonna be like I'm gonna be doing that. I already been practicing that during the off season. Just I'm gonna spin it. I think they might. I'm not sure if, and because what I've learned is in the NBA they actually ban that move. Like Allen Iverson was getting people with that move so much that they end up banning like some of his moves because they was just too goddamn dangerous. I'm not even gonna lie, but I'm not sure if college basketball banned it yet. So I ain't even gonna lie. If he got to the NBA with that shit, they definitely did. So I'm gonna be doing
right
that
when
shit.
Michael Jordan walked away from the game. Because the 90s weren't just good for basketball. They were perfect. The entire league revolved around Jordan. So when he retired, after that second three-peat, the NBA didn't just lose its biggest star. It lost the one thing holding everything else together. And almost immediately, things started getting weird. The Bulls got blown up from the inside. Tensions between players and owners were already building. And just 2 weeks after the most watched finals game in history, the league shut down. It was a complete disaster. Chaos everywhere. Owners and players were at each other's throats, and nobody even...
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it.
The NBA had a shutdown? That's crazy.
Knew if there'd be a season at all. Training camps got canceled, exhibition games disappeared, and the regular season, it was already falling apart. By the time the lockout ended, 204 days later, players had lost $500 million, and fans weren't exactly thrilled. Nearly a third of them thought the game had gotten worse. The season was cut down to just 50 games, and it showed. Empty seats, falling ratings. For the first time in years, the NBA actually felt like it was losing people. When the players finally came back, it wasn't pretty. Guys were heaving by the second quarter like the season had already worn them out. Karl Malone put up 24-9 and somehow won MVP in his late 30s. The Knicks limped out to the finals only to get destroyed, and the Spurs quietly snagged their first ring, mostly unnoticed outside of southern Texas. Meanwhile, the world had just watched the greatest player of all time chase the three-peats, and now the game on the court felt like a shadow of that magic. 1 year changed, and the NBA felt slower, weaker, less exciting. From the high-flying theatrics of Jordan to the lumbering double-big lineups in San Antonio, flipping on a game no longer felt like watching history. The league had lost its rhythm, and for a while, it didn't even know what it was anymore. There was some hope, though. Although it hadn't worked yet, there were some rumblings from LA with the duo of Shaq and Kobe running the show. And once the league was able to get back to a full season, they took over. In the 2000 season, Shaq ran away with the MVP. Kobe found himself on the all-defensive team and all-NBA second team. With some help from Shaq's 31-15, they blew through the playoffs to win their first title together. It was a hostile takeover.
Portland have 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq.
That's how crazy that shit was. I'm not even gonna lie.
Shaq was the most
That was
dominant physical force in NBA history.
That was a buzzer beater, though.
7'1", 350-pound frame with athleticism, strength, and skill unlike anyone we'd ever seen. GMs across the league scrambled, desperate to sign a big-body center who could even dream of competing with him. By the late 1990s, Shaquille O'Neal was no longer the young, fun kid who had just been thrilled to reach the 1995 finals,
That nigga broke
where
the
Hakeem
rim.
Olajuwon utterly pummeled him. Now, Shaq was surging.
Bro, for some reason, I definitely heard that Shaq is definitely the reason why the league deadass have the rims that they do now. Like, they rims is way stronger than they was back then. Like, y'all ever seen through the years where they just start changing the rims and shit? He the reason for them doing that.
Or it's one
The
of the
nigga was just, yo, y'all gotta understand, this nigga, like, in the last video, I learned that this nigga was damn near reaching 400 pounds on the off season, bro. And they had to tell him to get in shape.
highest peaks the game had ever seen.
Y'all gotta think 400 pounds versus that?
And right beside him, a young Kobe Bryant was starting to turn heads. The version that won the 2000 championship, a little rough around the edges, sure, but with the flash, finesse, and mean-mugging stare that looked like he wanted to chew your face off, this guy was never just Shaq's sidekick. But neither of the two would win the MVP the next season, because in Philly, a cultural sensation was taking over. The NBA was a white-collar job off the floor built to sell you sneakers and sell you on the next playoff series. With coaches in suits and players that shut the fuck up, there was a corporate line that very few dared to cross. And then in 1996 comes Allen Iverson. In what was the craziest rise in NBA history, Allen Iverson went from going to prison in high school to being pardoned out of his sentence due to a 60-minute segment to best player in college basketball to NBA nightmare. AI did the opposite of the norms. Compared to Michael Jordan, who was not only the greatest to ever play, but the greatest marketing magnate in sports history, Allen Iverson was a guy who'd show up late to commercial shoots, skip practice, and wipe his ass with the NBA's dress code. He didn't leave his attitude or his style in the door, he owned it for everyone to see. No one but AI was walking in with do-rags and pimped out chains. MJ came
They
in right
can't
after.
be mad at that, though, because at the end of the day, bro, I feel like these niggas allergic to money, man. Like, no, like, bro, y'all gotta understand. If him walking in with a do-rag is going to influence the style and it's going to have the fans doing all this, they going to buy more of his jerseys. They going to buy more of other people's jerseys to go with certain outfits that they got. And they just going to all around just gain swag, bro. You know, when people get swag, bro, they spend money on more things. That's one thing y'all got to realize. So I feel like if it wasn't for Allen Iverson, bro, like, it's not going to be a lot of people that would actually be, you know, would actually want to look good playing basketball. We will all be casual, my nigga. So, yeah. I say he basically made the league more money.
After playing 18 holes in a suit and tie, Tim Duncan was reserved. Kobe wasn't worried about anything but mentally torturing him. Iverson was just different. He was 6'0" but thought he was Vince Carter, and in 2001, the league was his. On a team that had no business being there, he carried the 76ers to the promised land, leading the league in scoring, leading the league in steals, and leading the league in swagger while he was doing it. In a league dominated by giants, Allen Iverson hoisted one of the most deserved MVPs of all time, leading the Sixers team starring Dikembe Mutombo and Aaron McKie to the NBA Finals. All while, the NBA was breathing down his neck. His presence was a culture shock to a league that had become obsessed with professionalism in the Stern era. But today, you see his impact in every corner of the game. The tats, the expression, the social media presence. A lot of that has to do with what AI did for the game. While the Lakers were bringing their dominance and AI his culture, the Pacific Northwest was breeding one of the more terrifying, talented, and legally embattled teams this century. To the average eye, they were a deep, physical, and exciting team that was ready to compete with the top teams in the West. But so much more than that, they were the poster boys of one of the most scandalous eras in basketball. They were led by vets Scottie Pippen, the explosive Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, and later a young Zach Randolph. In 2000, they came within one quarter of toppling the Lakers dynasty in one of the more controversial Laker games of that decade. But even more controversial than their performance was their team construction. In the NBA, talent rules all. If you can play, you're probably going to play. But the Portland Jailblazers took this to a whole new level, signing some of the most dysfunctional, toxic, and messy characters to ever play the game of basketball. You had Ruben Patterson, who later got charged with the attempted rape of his child's nanny, before assaulting his wife just a year later, and now owing 6 figures in child support. Quintel Woods was holding dogfights in his own home. Stoudemire tried passing through airport security with weed wrapped in aluminum foil. He got arrested and fined $250,000 after getting arrested for a third time after getting caught smoking with Rasheed Wallace.
You're under arrest. Rasheed Wallace. There's
Hey, is your Mac secretly underperforming? Mine totally was. I used
Hey, bro,
Clean My
shut
Mac's
up.
health check to figure it out. Super quick. Take a look.
Clean My Mac instantly shows battery status, CPU.
Rasheed Wallace picked up 41 techs in the 2001 season, a feat that probably would be impossible nowadays with how many games he would have to miss. A 19-year-old Zebo fucked around and found out with Ruben Patterson after a physical altercation led to him having to hide away in fears of him being killed. They were even able to get rid of Sebastian Telfair before he got slammed with fears of him.
And so after Zach Randolph went to hiding for several days for the fear of one of his teammates was going to shoot him. In 2003, or we're going to just say Oregano columnist John Canzo reported that Randolph sucker punched teammate Ruben Patterson in the face during a practice. The punch broke Patterson's eye socket, and Ruben vowed revenge for the accident. My fault. Zebo went into hiding for several days at teammate Dale Davis' house, reportedly fearing that Patterson would try to shoot him. To my knowledge, it never been publicly addressed by the player. This nigga's pussy, bro. This nigga is soft as shit. So this nigga Zach Randolph, this nigga's fucking soft, bro.
Him being killed. They were even able to get rid of Sebastian Telfair before he got slammed with weapons and marijuana charges out the ass. So much shit went on in that locker room that simply wouldn't fly today. They weren't quite as harsh as the 1990s Pistons on the court.
I just don't understand how, like, somebody would be after y'all know y'all had money to deal with it, right? Like, yo, you literally in the NBA. If he got money, you got money. You telling me that nigga threatened to shoot your ass, and you didn't go and buy yourself, you know, some type of weapon to actually defend yourself against him? But you decided to go hide at your teammate's house. Now, what if your teammate was to backdoor you like that? Like, the motherfucker don't even like you for real. And he's just acting like it. Then the nigga pull up and then, no, that shit happens.
That was mostly because they
dumb.
blew off enough steam off of the court. The Spurs had a
And then
ring
his
in
teammates had to witness him being soft like that. Like, what the fuck?
1999, but for the next few years, LA ran the West like a freight train. Shaq was unstoppable, Kobe was on the rise, the Spurs weren't quite ready. Hell, for a while it wasn't even a rivalry. It was a massacre. 3 straight finals, 3 straight MVPs for Shaq, only 3 losses across all those games. LA bulldozed every challenger. Nobody could touch them. Then came 2003. Tim Duncan, quiet, deadly, and unstoppable. The Spurs shot 47% from 3 that series. Kobe went nuclear with 32 points a night. Shaq tried to hold down the fort with 25 and 14, but it wasn't enough. And that's when the cracks started to show. Shaq coasted, Kobe raged. Both tried to hold each other accountable, but neither looked in the mirror. The unstoppable Lakers, suddenly human.
You know what the crazy part is? This shit's still like 90s basketball, bro. That's
The dynasty still stood, but the foundation was
It's only
shaky.
like 3 years later. Like
2000 offseason didn't do any good either. Shaq was calling for an expensive extension. Kobe wasn't exactly being transparent with his wishes as free agency was just a year away, and looming above it all was the Kobe grape case that had him absent for the start of training camp. But despite all that drama, the Lakers had some success. They added Gary Payton and Karl Malone, put the Spurs away in 6 in just the second round, and they were looking at the Pistons in the finals at minus 700 favorites. But while the Lakers were a house divided, the Pistons were a well-oiled 5-man machine. From the start of Game 1, it was clear that it wasn't going to be a 4 or 5 game series in favor of the Lakers like everyone thought. Ben Wallace was making life difficult for Shaq, holding to inefficient hook shots while keeping him away from the basket. He also didn't seem to be putting in as much effort as in past years. He looked lethargic on the boards and on defense, and Wallace absolutely ate him.
You gotta have a backup play for
The
that,
Pistons
bro.
were playing Kobe just as well. They constantly sent doubles and traps to make him uncomfortable. And game after game, he just didn't look like himself. After cruising to
I
a Game
remember
1
this.
win, the Pistons were just 4 seconds away from going up 2-0 before Kobe threw up a prayer and sent the game into OT. Malone was injured and was rendered kind of useless. Peyton was arguably the worst because he was doing straight cardio out there, getting cooked on defense and providing no offensive help. And the Pistons were rolling. Tayshaun Prince had Kobe in hell. Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups were putting up incredibly efficient numbers, and Ben Wallace was doing Ben Wallace things. After putting up only 68 points in Game 3, the Lakers just looked defeated. And the Pistons took 4 and 5 to beat the Lakers in embarrassing but impressive fashion. Detroit was a tougher, more cohesive team, and was everything that team basketball was supposed to be. But that series may have been the most important for the Lakers, because it took a situation from bad to worse. Shaq and Kobe were already butting heads as 1A and 1B, but the second the final horn blew, there was uncertainty all around. When Kobe was dealing with his legal woes, it became insufferable for Phil Jackson to deal with.
And Kobe had a real hard time that year and was disrespectful. And so I went in and told the leadership that, even though we were negotiating a contract, that I think that Kobe was uncoachable and he was difficult to handle at this time. Probably wasn't the best coach. I wasn't the best coach for him.
And this is Phil Jackson we're talking about. At the time, the 9-time champion just as a coach, and Kobe was too much for him. Whether he got fired or resigned, he was out just 3 days after losing to the Pistons. Shaq liked Jackson, and when you add the fact that the Lakers weren't crumbling to his extension demands, he was out of the door and on to the next thing. Shaq went to the Heat to prove to Kobe that he could win a ring without him, and Kobe was clearly favored by the Lakers and wanted to prove they could win a ring.
EVE Online is a vast universe.
Without Shaq. But in that same offseason, the Olympics were taking place, and the U.S. fielded a team without both Shaq and Kobe. The team was still elite on paper, starring Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, and newly arrived rookie LeBron James. And everyone believed that achieving the gold would be just as simple as every other Olympics that pros were allowed to play. But it wasn't. First off, the roster was a bit bizarre. It was an interesting mix of vets and young guys, and in addition to the 2 Lakers friends, KG, T-Mac, Ben Wallace, and many others were nowhere to be seen. You see, these other teams practiced together around the clock, built chemistry, and held the same tight teams together through the years. The U.S. just rolled out their JV team with a couple of big names, and had the preconception that they were going to win just like any other year. The team lacked real shooting, lacked real chemistry, but there was also a lack of how important these international games were to other teams. In Game 1 of the 04 Olympics, Carlos Arroyo and sharpshooter Eddie Casiano, who never even sniffed an NBA court, toppled the U.S. by 20. The U.S. would limp through the group stage, losing to Lithuania as well before clinching a quarterfinals berth miraculously. Larry Brown was hesitant to play any of the younger guys, and the players that did play played ISO-heavy ego ball, while the other teams were picking them apart with their pinpoint passing and cohesiveness. And despite making it to the semis, it was only a matter of time before the States lost again. And this time it was to an Argentinian team led by Luis Scola and maestro Manu Ginobili, who beat the U.S. based off of passion, chemistry, and a well-beat team before going on to win the gold. It was uplifting for Argentina, but a gut punch for the U.S. It showed how broken things had become. An embarrassment like that didn't just hurt the country, it hurt the league. What does it say when more than half your stars skip the biggest international stage in the world, either because they didn't want to be there, or because their lives were already in chaos? Teams were falling apart. Stars like Kobe were spending entire off seasons dealing with legal battles. Shaq was acting like a baby. Allen Iverson had his DUI, and feuds and scandals were looking in every corner of the league. And this was before social media, before every mistake went viral. There was a level of unhinged behavior that almost feels impossible today. This was an era where even the most bizarre stories felt like just another Tuesday. It starts with the surreal tragedy of Eddie Griffin. Griffin crashed his SUV into a parked car while allegedly drunk. What made it unforgettable was the police report. He was watching a porno on a screen installed in his dashboard at the moment of impact.
Yo, what?
After the crash, he was watching a car while starts with the surreal tragedy of Eddie Griffin. Griffin crashed his SUV into a parked car while allegedly drunk. What made it unforgettable was the police report. He was watching a porno on a screen installed in his dashboard at the moment of impact.
He
After
died?
the crash, he walked into a liquor store. And years later, he would tragically lose his life in another drunk driving accident.
Damn, alcohol really is dangerous, bro. Like, dog. What you mean? You was watching what, bro? Hell nah.
And yet,
These some
for
crazy
every
ass
heavy
stories.
moments,
Listen, I be forgetting these is real people though. Like shit like this is going to happen, bro. These are actual like real people. Like NBA players are no different from us, bro. Like the same shit we do, the same feelings we have, bro. Like they bleed just like we bleed, bro. They just more professional. That's it. They just got money. But goddamn, I'd never be the type of motherfucker to watch them like that in the car. That's crazy. Oh, you tripping, man.
something completely absurd. Usually
And this,
courtesy of
listen, I see why drunk people can't drive either. Definitely see why. Do you know these motherfuckers will be driving and doing some crazy shit the whole time that could make them literally like endanger themselves, bro? I see why, bro. Like when you want alcohol, bro, you truly are evil.
on Artest.
Like
Long before it became Meta World Peace,
what the?
Artest was the league's ultimate agent of chaos. In 2002, he randomly pulled Paul Pierce's shorts down in the middle of a possession. No strategy, no logic, just chaos. Pierce calmly pulled them back.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. This a bad look. It's like you trying to like. Hell no, man. I ain't even gonna.
Kept his dribble and drilled the jumper right in his face.
Yo, it
Perfectly
looked like
capturing an era where the
trying
basketball
to
was
like
elite,
get up
even
and
when
cut.
everything else
Ew.
made absolutely no sense.
And then he chasing
But Artest
him.
wasn't the
Bro,
only
do y'all
one
know how crazy that looked?
taking the lead. Stephon Marbury was live streaming himself at 2 a.m. eating Vaseline while ranting to fans like everything was completely normal. And somehow, that barely even cracked the top of the strangest stories of the era. While it seemed like teams were imploding left and right, in the midst of the chaos of the era, the arrival of the Chosen One had the league feeling hopeful. LeBron wasn't just hyped. He was the most anticipated prospect the sport has ever seen.
Nah, that
He was
Vaseline part's still crazy. What the fuck?
on ESPN for almost his entire high school career. Even though the expectations were higher than anything anyone had seen, he immediately lived up to them. In his debut, he put up 25, 9, and 6. Most rookies take a bit to get up to speed in the league, even if it's just a few games, but LeBron was a star from the jump. In a season defined by controversy and friction, LeBron was a clean, exciting, and
LeBron's
superhuman
dead. He's
figure
just
that
tough,
the
man.
NBA could lean on. But he wasn't alone. Despite Darko being an absolute dud, the 2003 draft also held the arrival of Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Carmelo Anthony, and a wave of players who could instantly flip franchises around. By the end of the season,
Bro,
the
I ain't gonna lie. It seems like after that, like I actually my point might not even be valid because years before LeBron was drafted, they always had like little like bust in the league always just had a bunch of draft busts, bro. Like I never understood that. Like how the fuck do you go? Like how the fuck do you go from being so good in college to the point where you make it to the league and you can't play for shit? You literally can't fucking play. I've literally never understood the whole concept of that. I think that whole like thing is just stupid. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think what the league really need to do is they need to start like having niggas play against like real NBA players first. Cause that other shit be crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. But that's really all I got to say about
The
that.
landscape was shifting. A new era of players was coming. But just as the league was getting hopeful that a clean shift was coming, the Indiana Pacers had to shut everything down. As Reggie Miller's career came to a close, the Pacers started to add on some new pieces to try to piggyback off of his success. They added Jermaine O'Neal, an elite post player and shot blocker, defensive menace Ron Artest, and added Steven Jackson on for the 2005 season after a 61 campaign the year before. Rick Carp.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With Wix, you can grab yours now and then get.
Carlisle was proving himself. Reggie Miller had one more season in him, and things were looking up. And the year before, in the most grinded out series in NBA history, they fell to Detroit in 6. The average score was 75 to 73. Neither team ever sniffed 40% from the field. It was a hard-nosed, all-out defensive matchup, but the Pacers had hopes that they'd get them back in the following season. But in Game 9 of that 2004-2005 season, the NBA was flipped on its head. When the two teams met for the first time that regular season, the Pacers manhandled Detroit, taking command in the first half and never giving up. With the game just seconds away from finishing, an unnecessary foul by Artest, followed by an unnecessary reaction from Ben Wallace, had the two teams brawling.
Bro, do y'all know after that this caused like severe trauma for like a lot of people? Like honestly, I heard after this, like every time NBA players would go to that arena, they would just like they basically knocked it down, and they turned it the Detroit Pistons arena like they basically like I think they moved it or something like that, but they demolished the one that this fight happened in, because everybody just felt like they had past trauma in there, like and. Y'all understand like how I'm gonna basically make a comparison, but y'all know how it was in a Jeffrey Dahmer movie where something happened so traumatic in the apartment complex that basically they demolished the whole thing. Like the thing traumatized all the neighbors and everything in there. That's basically a thing with this. Nobody died. But it was just some type of energy that was stuck in that place that they just decided to demolish it. Like, it was just evil. Like, yeah, I really say that. Like, they really was so traumatized by the memories that they had in this arena. Like, the arena, like, they felt like every time they go there, they was holding on to something. So they got that out of there. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know what the new arena called now, but that shit moved, bro. They demolished it like years later, like or years that I don't even remember. But yeah, they demolished that shit though.
Ron Artest looked like a 6'8", roided out WWE wrestler who was knocking out dudes who work on power lines. By the time anyone even realized what was going on, the entire Pacers roster was beating the shit out of fans. This was too crazy.
The
game
that nigga Jermaine O'Neal slid into cuz like these. That nigga was like these. He was like, I gotta chill. I ain't even gonna lie. I gotta chill, man. I'm about to break my motherfucking desk and everything.
Which from what looks like one of the most heated rivalries in the NBA to immediately one of the most embarrassing moments in sports history. The Pacers finally left while getting pelted with beer and hot dogs. But what everyone was really waiting for was to see what the fallout from the incident would be. And it was unbelievable. David Stern's reaction was simple. Holy shit. Jermaine O'Neal called it 20 times worse in person than on TV. A Pacers assistant coach compared it to gladiator-type scenes. 2 spectators were hospitalized, the Pacers left in a police escort, and the NBA hit him hard.
Leans back and look at Jamal as an accident. Do you think we're going to get in trouble?
See how it says memories of Malice the Palace? Malice the Palace is the arena they were in. After that, a lot of niggas was so traumatized that they decided to just, Like just demolish the whole thing and just move the arena, bro.
I said, why?
Or just rebuild one, I think.
We still have a job.
Definitely rebuild one. You can't move an arena.
Artest, gone for the season. Steven Jackson, 30 games. O'Neal, 15 games. 6 more players were suspended. A championship contender wiped out overnight. But what took as big of a hit was the league's reputation. This was coming on the heels of the Jailblazers era. The team full of criminals had dissolved. And then one of the best teams in the league beat the shit out of them.
NBA had a lot of criminals back then, bro. Like, seriously, they probably still do now. But, bro, like, y'all gotta understand, like, the NBA now, it don't have a lot of niggas that's just hungry and they coming out of trenches no more, bro. Like, these is dead-ass people that they coming up off, like, NIL deals and everything. It's not like how it was back in the day. You would have niggas like Allen Iverson coming in. Bro, Allen Iverson mom literally begged, like, because look, basically what happened was she used to go to like I don't remember what state it was. Was it Georgia State or something? I think it was Georgetown, right? His mom used to go there, and then she like he basically like wiped out all his D1 offers when he I don't remember what the fuck he did, but he wiped out all his D1 offers when he went to jail. And it's basically kind of like the thing that happened with Mikey Williams or whatever his name is. And what is it, Mikey Williams? I'm not even sure. But yeah, it's basically kind of the thing that happened to him, that where like it was actually hard for him to actually get back, you know, to where he was. He almost made it to the league. But his mom had to beg her old college, or if she I don't know if she worked there, or that was her old college or whatever. But she had to beg them to pick him up on the college team, bro. She had to beg them to give him an offer, and then he went there, and that's when he went to the league, bro. Like, this nigga, like, yeah, that's basically what happened. But y'all gotta understand, like, the league back then, bro, like, as times go on, like, times is getting way more spoiled. You're not getting people that come out of the trenches no more. They used to just be smoking weed every day. They would just be on the corner. They would have none to eat at night. Like, I feel like VJ probably the last nigga that come up with something like that. He's from a different country. So that's different. He's from a different country. I don't think he's from here. So, yeah. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, that's kind of the last of people that are actually still hungry for this shit, bro. Because I guarantee you this right now. LeBron would have definitely had a lot of money when he was younger if NIL deals was out back then. These NIL deals is stopping the league from finding hungry people that are hungry for it. Because the college is offering these niggas money, bro.
This was 10 times worse.
That's how I feel about
Jackson and Artest were lucky that Stern didn't expel them from the league entirely. Frankly, they were lucky they didn't go to prison. Their own fans started referring to the team as the Thugs. The next time the two teams played, bomb threats were called in. The NBA had to completely revamp
Bro,
their
why y'all
security.
trying to act like this nigga, Ben Wallace? Is his name Ben? Bruh. Is it Ben Wallace? Let me see, bro. Oh yeah, that's Ben Wallace. But yeah, y'all trying to act like that nigga Ben Wallace didn't already look intimidating, or he wasn't intimidating. From what I remember watching his old games, bro, I wasn't even out there that time, but I seen a clip of his games before, bro. He looks really intimidating. He looks like he will dead ass try to fight you for no fucking reason. Like, the nigga that tried to fight LeBron that's on the Pistons right now, or I don't know if he got traded or whatever, but it's like last year, 2 years ago, the nigga that tried to fight LeBron because LeBron accidentally did something to his face or whatever, right? He accidentally hit him, elbowed him, whatever you may call it. That nigga Ben Wallace is way worse than him. He's just a Ben Wallace 2.0. Because the nigga tried to chase LeBron, bro. The nigga tried to chase LeBron to do something to him.
Next time the two teams played, bomb threats were called in. The NBA had to completely revamp their security and alcohol measures in order to stay alive.
I got one challenge for you. Try Whisper Flow once. One time. And I promise you'll understand why I haven't typed the...
A lot of players and fans hate on David Stern for how harsh he was. But if you know anything about league history, he was a product of his own environment. David Stern came into the NBA at a time of turmoil. The 1970s were a time that the NBA was full of cokeheads. Violence was out of control, and the NBA was turning out its worst product yet.
Niggas really used to fight like that nigga said. I mean, I guess it's a little neutral, but your face is not like, you gotta fight more like these, like, I don't know.
And through tightening up the rules to a death grip, Stern cleaned up the reputation, propped up the stars that carried the 80s to a whole new stratosphere of popularity, and kickstarted what would become the greatest decade in basketball history in the 1990s. But come the early 2000s, many of the same problems were recurring. NBA players weren't creating history on the court unless it came in unlikely acts of violence. Players weren't getting caught with blow left and right. When it came to DUIs, domestic violence, and any other charges under the sun,
Anthony had one too.
TMZ certainly wasn't short on storylines. The NBA's image was slipping.
I heard Carmelo Anthony socked somebody that was on the Knicks back then.
And just like last time, he was ready to take control.
The shit out of somebody.
Where it all started was the mandatory dress code. It sparked immediate backlash, largely because of the cultural shift.
Why are y'all mad about the dress code? These isn't regular people, bro. Why the fuck y'all want to make... Like, bro, I'm sick of white people just trying to, like, just make the league all white, bro. Like, bro, this is fly. This the definition of being fly, bro. There's nothing wrong with this. The way that I'm seeing it now, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just like they have money, bro. They can't show that they have money, my nigga. Like, ain't nothing wrong with these fits. They just hating as fuck. That's why the fuck y'all wear Skechers, bro. Y'all mad as shit. All y'all do is wear Skechers and fucking dad shoes and shit.
And by Alna.
What's some nut ass fucking capris, bro?
Your style had become synonymous with the league's new identity. But coming off the heels of the Malice at the Palace and everything that came with it, it was pretty clear what Stern was trying to do. He wasn't just changing how players dressed, he was trying to change how the league was perceived. The reaction from players was immediate.
Nobody gives a fuck. Y'all making money. Why do you care? Y'all is making money, bro.
Many believed there were racial undertones to the policy, but at the same time, they understood why it was happening. Because whether the league wanted to admit it or not, the optics were bad. And having an older white commissioner telling a predominantly black league
that nigga looked like he was born in maybe like the 50s or 40s, bro. Listen, I wouldn't even put it past this nigga if he was racist. He kind of looked like it. He like the average racist white nigga. I'm not even.
That was always going to create tension.
I'm not sure.
Over time, something interesting happens. It worked. Players didn't lose their individuality.
But why do the league always have white niggas as the little like CEOs or the head honchos and shit? I don't.
They adapted.
The fuck.
Instead of oversized jerseys and sagging shorts, guys started showing up in tailored fits, designer suits, and high-end fashion. What could have been restrictive turned into expression. Suddenly, walking into the arena became its own runway. You had players like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James turning pregame arrivals into spectacles, blending hip-hop culture with professionalism in a way that never really had before.
Y'all see how they want these niggas dressing like it's the 1900s or some shit? I don't fuck with that, bro.
Gay also banned high schoolers from going straight to the league before either going international or...
Bro! Okay, this is where it started at. You ban some shit like that, you ain't gonna find nobody that's hungry for this shit no more. Cause a lot of niggas in high school struggling too as well. Everybody don't go to good high schools, and everybody's high schools don't have money. Like, we literally learned that from LeBron, my nigga. And y'all decided y'all want to take this away. It's a lot of niggas that's eligible out of high school, though. So I don't really blame them, because there's a lot of niggas nowadays that's probably eligible out of high school. So, like, you drafting a bunch of high schoolers, that's going to be bad, because then you going to have the parents have to sign papers and shit, and everybody don't have no fucking parents. Imagine you got a motherfucker that's good at basketball, but their parents not alive. Like, that's how bad people really struggling out here. Like, their parents is either neglected, they dead, something. And everybody can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna have to be the legal age. I kind of don't blame y'all for taking that rule away, honestly. Because it's a lot of pros and you know, just picking up people after they go, like, come out of college.
Went to college due to a lack of maturity found in lots of these kids. But just as one scandal
Exactly. I don't blame them for that. Niggas thought Kobe was immature when he first came in. And I ain't gonna lie, he was. But it's like, niggas be immature out of college too. Let's be real, bro.
Another one appeared.
Motherfuckers go there for like a year, they still be on the same shit.
Do a lot more damage.
You can still tell their kids, bro.
If fans ever start believing the games themselves are rigged, then the league as we know it is over. Because once people stop trusting the competition, the stadium's empty and the product loses its soul. There's one person who did more damage to the league's reputation than almost anyone else. It wasn't a player or a coach or even a team full of wild personalities. It was referee Tim Donaghy.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account.
Yo, get the fuck out of my face, bro.
From roughly 2003 to 2007, Donaghy wasn't just a ref. He was blatantly betting on NBA games he was officiating. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. He was already a notorious hothead before the scandal began. He thumbed his way into the job and had someone else take the SAT for him to get into Villanova, and had a record for off-the-court chaos that would make most people back away slowly. He got suspended from his country club for chasing people down, driving golf carts into ravines, lighting tractors, and nearly burning houses. Cheated on his wife with hookers, beat the shit out of a mailman, and even called the cops on a 5-year-old for throwing mud in his yard. Tim Donaghy fucking sucked. Even his fellow referees...
Mind y'all, this probably only happened because he was white. This nigga got away with a lot of that shit because he was white. Imagine this nigga was black, bro. They would have actually treated him like way worse. He wouldn't have even got in, bro.
And yet somehow, this guy was trusted to run some of the most important games in professional basketball.
Because of a situation in preseason referee meetings where Joe Crawford and I got into a fist fight, and he smacked me and I knocked him out, and I was taken out of the second round of the playoffs because of that.
Donaghy was betting with an old friend, so when he openly referred to as a moron, but rather than outright rigging games with bad calls, Donaghy took a different approach. He would pass along insider information, details about player-referee relationships, or instructions from the league to refs about how to officiate certain teams. Essentially, he wasn't changing outcomes himself, he was predicting them. With this intel, his friend could place bets with astonishing accuracy, reportedly winning over 90% of the time. Then again, Donaghy's a total liar, so maybe he just called dumb fouls. We'll never really know. Eventually, the bookies caught on. A bookie for the Animals noticed that his friend Concannon was betting unusually large amounts on games, and he wanted it. Before long, they were trailing 6-figure bets and making a killing. Donaghy kept going, supplementing his $260,000 salary by betting on the very games he was officiating. At first, it wasn't much, just a few $1,000s here and there, but by 2004, the volume had exploded. Donaghy would find huge wads of $100 bills stuffed in his jackets, each pile a reminder of how far he'd crossed the line. But then, in 2006, a high school acquaintance, James Batista, approached Donaghy with a proposition. $2,000 per game if his pick won. Donaghy already had a system in place, and the kicker, he wouldn't lose a dime if the pick failed. Everyone involved was nervous, but the potential payday was too big to pass up. The process was simple, almost absurd. Donaghy would make his pick, relay it to Batista, and after a bit of betting to throw off the market, Batista would bet the house on Donaghy's selection. According to Batista, he couldn't even watch the games, because if he knew what to look for, the results were shockingly obvious. But what comes up must come down, and eventually, the FBI caught on. Agent Phil Scala had gotten a tip in October of 2006 that there was some referee gambling activity in New York, and eventually, he narrowed it down to Donaghy. Most people didn't buy it. It was surreal, which made it harder for them to bring the hammer down on Donaghy and the crew. In an ESPN study, Donaghy's picks for Batista went 23
if he was black, they would have believed that shit way easier.
And the odds of that happening was 1 in 6,155. Another test said that there was a 4% chance that Donaghy wasn't at fault, although later admitted. When the plot finally unraveled, David Stern called Tim Donaghy a rogue, isolated criminal. Stern was mainly upset that the league wasn't able to catch it first. I mean, something like this had the opportunity to shut down an entire sport's reputation. So what did the league do? They told the media that it was impossible to rig an NBA game. They closed ranks, obviously Donaghy, Batista, and everyone else that was betting on games, but the league needed to save face, so they did their best to divert the attention. And in reality, it was just another dark spot that the NBA needed to cover up to stay respected.
I've said it is rigged forever, and when a mobbed-up ref came out, people still, it's just one guy.
I think that Stern was glad that the team running the league was a respected, fundamental-driven team in the San Antonio Spurs, but they were really able to lean on the rise of LeBron through the years. The Spurs, who in a league full of ego-driven culture, were tearing through teams as the disciplined, mature, and put-together franchise. Led by Coach Pop, the Spurs drafted well. They won in '99 thanks to the Twin Towers and Duncan and Robinson, but sniping both Parker and Ginobili in the draft made the Big Three possible. In a league tarnished by the malice at the Palace, the Spurs showed that the controlled team focused on basketball was still just as effective. In '05, they rolled through the West to face the defending champs in one of the more interesting but forgotten finals of the decade. The teams traded blowouts for the first 4 games of the series. But Game 5 was absolute cinema. After neither team capitalized on their last possession in regulation, the game went into overtime, where bench star Robert Horry caught fire for the Spurs, nailing 3 after 3 before hitting a game winner with seconds left. But after pushing the series to 7, the Pistons couldn't win the series, and the Spurs had won their 3rd title. The series was full of lopsided games, missed shots, and slow basketball that mostly basketball nerds loved, but it was a stabilizer. In the next season, it was Miami's time to shine. Shaq would get his Kobe-less ring with the Heat proving that he could win without him, even if Dwayne Wade was the one with the Superman cape. These championship runs were seasons to remember. Watching the Spurs put together what would become the closest thing to basketball perfection felt like a blessing to the sport. And watching the Flash come into his own brought enough excitement to bring in a lot of new fans to 2000s basketball. Slowly, the league started pulling fans back in. Those who had checked out after the Lakers' early dominance, or even after the Bulls' dynasty crumbled, found themselves hooked again, and a whole new generation of fans discovered the NBA for the first time. The 2000s weren't just about chaos and controversy anymore. They were about rising stars, incredible performances, and a game that felt alive once again. But if we want to be honest with ourselves, what got fans in the door was the emergence of the guy who dominated the century like no one else. In 2006, he had another I'm here moment, when he went and dropped a triple-double in his first career playoff game after coming second in MVP voting to the 2-timer Steve Nash. In the next season, he took his team to the finals. Despite getting swept by the Spurs, the fact of the matter was that he wasn't just a kid anymore. He was up there with the best in the world. In the next season, he had totally refined his scoring, led the league, and even though he got bounced in the second round, a new story came to light in the form of a rekindled rivalry. But during this time, let's not forget who the best player in the world was. Kobe Bryant may have had a quiet run in terms of team success throughout the mid-2000s, but his individual dominance was louder than ever. Consistent 30-point seasons, carrying offenses on his back, a fucking 81-point game. This guy at his peak was possibly the most skilled player to ever play the game, and that wasn't even his greatest strength. Kobe could make grown men shit their pants if you locked eyes with him long enough. No shot was too big. Honestly, it felt like no shot was big
funny
enough.
as fuck, nigga. What?
He was the most feared scorer of the decade, and outside of Michael Jordan, probably the most feared of all time. And to be throwing out lineups with guys like Bill Walton, Kwame Brown, and Smush Parker next to him, that was one of the biggest crimes the Lakers ever committed. Though it did result in some of the most insane...
Yo, I just peeped this shit. I deadass have a high school basketball coach that looked exactly like Kobe, low-key. Like, I don't know why, but I really just thought about it. I'm like, yo, this nigga really do look like Cuz. Like, that's wild as shit. And it's like, it's a lot of things that's off, bro. Like, it's just a lot of you can tell in the face, but nowhere else. Like, the nigga got curly hair and all that, right? But
it's all history. By 2008, after landing Pau Gasol in a mid-season blockbuster trade, Kobe finally had a number 2. He had come off of 2 scoring titles to then win his only MVP in his career. Shocking, I know. And when they ran into the Spurs in the playoffs, they were ready. Kobe dropped 30 a game on 53% shooting to put these guys to bed in 5. The Lakers roster may not have had the depth to match up with the Spurs on paper.
Look, and y'all remember that one nigga that was on the Lakers and everybody, I think it was the Lakers or the Mavericks, and everybody thought he was related to Kobe or some shit, or he looked like him.
Bryant with a full head of steam and
he looked like him too, I ain't even lie.
The Lakers truly looked unbeatable storming into the NBA Finals. Only problem was, so did the Boston Celtics. That offseason before, Boston put together one of the most infamous big threes of all time. Kevin Garnett was freed from the trenches, known as the 2000s Timberwolves. This was debatably the most talented power forward to ever play the game, still in his prime. Mix this with the talent of Ray Allen, who you may know as the best shooter in history at the time, but in 2007 he was so good at everything else that we didn't even know that yet. This was all, of course, around Captain Paul Pierce, and there was no better way to revive the greatest rivalry in the history of the sport. Kobe was still looking for that first title without Shaq. The Big Three were looking for their first title period, and the first Boston ring since Larry Legend left town. There was a lot on the line. Game 1 became instant lore. Not really because of what happened on the court, but because Paul Pierce had to get wheeled off because he didn't want to admit that he had to take a shit. Anyways, the Celtics took that game after a poor Kobe outing, and Paul Pierce putting the city on his back after he took his dump. Another problem was that the Lakers team was pretty rough once he got past their starting squad.
Did he change his basketball shirts? The question, because I remember somebody told me that nigga really this nigga had visible shit.
Very.
Bro.
Luke Walton shouldn't have even been in the league, let alone getting double-digit minutes in a finals game. And that was the story of the series. When Kobe was on, the Lakers were successful. When he wasn't, they drowned. He scored 36 of the team's 87 points in Game 7 in one of their 2 wins, and that still almost wasn't enough. Meanwhile, the Celtics were clicking. In Game 4, the Lakers got up by as much as 24 in the first half, while Kobe scored just 3. But even that wasn't enough to hold Boston. Went on a 12-0 run to end the third and took the lead at the start of the fourth. LA stretched it to 6, but they should have just let them win in 5. Because a 39-point blowout in Boston...
I motherfucking hate this motherfucker, bro. You were not a celebrity, bro. I'm about to start unfollowing these fucking hoes, man. Y'all ever reply to somebody's story gang? Not on no crazy shit, but it's just a casual convert. It was like something real casual. You just said something casual. You see something they post and you was kind of interested in the conversation, so you was like, you just said something, my nigga. These hoes on Instagram, bro. Instagram is so fucking dead, bro. I don't get it. Everybody on here think they somebody. And everybody on here think they bigger than the whole social media, bro. Y'all motherfuckers is nobodies. Y'all are not. Real shit. And yo, I don't even think y'all know this either. But I just peeped this shit, right? But if you dead ass go at it join in real life, no social media shit, no nothing, they will be way more interested in you for some reason. It's not wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but it's
Great name, but your voice doesn't quite
this
match
nigga
it.
got out.
We have a fix.
It's not wrong with that because it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that been working way before social media. You know what I mean? And then you really get the face-to-face type of contact with people. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense. But bro, they act like they don't see you on a gram, but when you go at them in real life, it's a whole different story. Now they want to get a number up. There's a lot of them that don't even do that. They be easy as fuck in real life. I swear to God, bro. Somebody told me this shit, and I was like, you know what? That shit might be the method. Not that I want nobody's easy, but it's it's way more easy for people to it's way more y'all gotta understand, bro. People it's a lot of bitches that don't even be on their I'm not even gonna say they don't be on their phone, but they don't texting people back on that joint. But if they see you in real life, bro, they gonna be more interested, bro.
Deeming the Celtics the rightful champions of the league once again. The real winner was the
really
league.
all I'm gonna say.
Anytime the Lakers played for the title, ratings shot up. And as much as Spurs fans might not want to hear this, no one was watching them win their titles.
They be thinking they so
People tuned in for
good, bro.
Kobe Bryant. Even in the 07 finals with LeBron, no one was watching. In fact, it was the lowest watched finals of the decade, bringing the high-stakes rivalry of Celtics-Lakers basketball, and this one, even to an unbiased observer, is hard to not think back at and smile. Another win for the league was the Redeem Team, the squad that the newly revamped Team USA led by Coach K, that compared to the 04 team was miles ahead. It featured Bron, Kobe, D. Wade, and
Man, what the fuck? This motherfucker. Yo, like, these motherfuckers don't know how to follow back either, bro. They don't. I'm unliking every single one of your joints, bro. These dumb ass bitches, bro. Like, yo, this is insane. I dead ass hate Instagram, bro. I dead ass hate it. This is not even Instagram, man. This shit is TikTok, bro. You be knowing motherfuckers see you too, bro. Like they'll view your fucking page. Fuck out my face, pussy.
Melo and others that had won gold. Take the gold back. Kobe set the tone with his 5 a.m. workouts, and after a plus 161 point differential across 5 preparation games, there was no doubt that they dominated. And they did. They killed everyone. They played with a different intensity, especially Kobe, who famously ran right through teammate Pau Gasol in the opening possessions of their game against Kobe brought the same intensity to the next season.
Ain't this when that nigga tackle somebody to get the Pau Gasol,
in
bro?
the next campaign for the title.
Where did he tackle Pau Gasol?
The regular season, though, was one of the peaks of the LeBron versus Kobe debate. Kobe wasn't necessarily playing much worse than in 08, but LeBron had entered his element as a defensive.
How y'all gonna compare them both when they literally...
The Cavs won 66 games.
My question is, how y'all gonna compare LeBron and Kobe when they two different caliber niggas, bro? Like, Kobe is way more shifty than LeBron. Like, I'm pretty sure Kobe can compete way more with Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving and all of them. LeBron can't really do that. Like, LeBron is more of like a big and a mixed, like, I'm not even gonna say guard. He a little shifty, but it's like he's in the middle, so it's gonna be some shit that he can't do. Like, don't get me wrong, he could guard like the bigs and shit, but he can't really, like, I don't know. It's just like I don't see him being able to compete with like Kyrie and all of them. It's just like I feel like they're easily like just choke him up.
Lakers 65. And as nice as it would have been to see Kobe get his lick back on Boston the very next year, the Kobe vs. LeBron finals was ultimately marketed as the dream scenario for the NBA. But the talent pool was getting deeper. This wasn't Bird and Magic's league, where the same two teams repeatedly made it. The league slowly built an army of talent that felt capable of winning its ship, even compared to the earlier years of the decade.
And listen, I hope y'all weren't thinking I was saying LeBron was a bad player. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's different, like, levels in basketball. Like, I'm not saying they on a higher level than LeBron, but, like, skill-wise or maybe, like, okay, like, bag-wise, yeah. But on a regular day, if you have somebody else guard LeBron, they'll do a better. If you had somebody else guarded Kyrie and Stephen Curry and all of them, they will do better against them than LeBron. You can't sit here and try to make LeBron guard Kyrie Irving and them, bro. Like these niggas, this is why you gotta guard people your size. You know what I'm saying?
There's just so much more.
Kobe only a couple inches shorter though, so like that really.
And Shaq were still there. The Celtics' big three was enormously talented. LeBron James and the Cavs were around. The 7 seconds or less Suns reinvented offense in front of our eyes, and yet the team that made the finals was the guy we love to clown on. Now the Magic were ahead of their time. As someone who never saw the mailman, Dwight Howard is the best pick-and-roll target I've ever seen. And with an army of shooters around him, the Magic used outward gravity to create a 2020s offense in 2009 around a single star and all-time defender. They may have robbed us of a Kobe vs. LeBron finals, but brilliant nonetheless. When the Magic had to go against maybe the most focused version of Kobe, they couldn't hold him. His goal ever since...
Has Kyrie texted you back?
I don't want to talk about it.
How was the math test?
Get this shit out of my fucking face, this dumbass ass
Shaq
shit.
had left was to win a ring without him, and no one was stopping him that season, especially not Rafer Elston and Michael Pieris. It deprived us of seeing the Kobe vs. LeBron matchup, but it also put the "Can Kobe win a title by himself" combo to rest.
You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or?
Still to be happy about.
You're up 2-0.
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Okay. It just showed Kobe's killer mentality again. He wasn't satisfied until he saw that his team had won 4 games. And it didn't matter that the Lakers were clearly going to roll through Orlando. As the league went into the 2010 season, it seemed like David Stern had the clean corporate league that he always had been hoping for. The Lakers and Celtics had restored the league's prestige, and LeBron was becoming the global icon we thought he would be. But just when the thug narrative seemed to be fading history, Agent Zero was ready to step in. After a card game went wrong, Gill and teammate Javaris Crittenton couldn't hold themselves back. Arenas was doing his thing to purposely get under the guy's skin, and Crittenton was not letting it happen. At this point, Arenas' career wasn't over, but it wasn't far from that because of his knee issues. I don't know why Arenas even imagined that this would be a good idea, but after Crittenton and Gill were throwing around shit like "I'm gonna shoot you" or "burn you alive," surely all in good fun, Arenas took some time out of his day to bring some guns into the locker room to see if Crittenton was gonna chicken out.
What?
The fuck? It violated team, league, city, and state ordinances. And Gilbert Arenas' fashion was about as unserious as it could possibly be. He already was going to get a felony charge, but he decided that it would...
This nigga, I knew was something up with Gilbert Arenas, bro. This nigga's I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is something really off about this nigga, bro.
Be a good idea to dance around during pregame
What the fuck you mean he brought guns into the locker room? Why?
While throwing around finger guns. If that doesn't tell you that someone hasn't learned a lesson, I don't know what will.
That's the type of shit John Moran be doing.
Suspending him for the rest of the season while he was illegally charged with 2 years of probation and a month in a halfway house. The most ironic part about it is that this would be the last headline coming out of the NBA of the 2000s, as it happened on Christmas Eve. Luckily, that season wasn't just remembered for that, because Boston and LA would run into one another in the finals, and the series would become an instant classic. In Game 1, a 30-piece from Kobe would give LA the game, before a Ray Allen 30-bomb gave Boston Game 2. But let's get down to it. What we all remember the most from that series was Game 7. Kobe had an extremely poor night, going 6 for 24 and 0 for 6 from 3. While he couldn't buy a bucket, the other team couldn't either. Ray Allen was incredibly inconsistent across the series and couldn't get anything to fall. Paul Pierce was the same way. But what did put the Lakers ahead in the game were the other guys. Well, you still had Kobe grinding it out and picking up 15 boards despite the off night, but Pau Gasol proved his brilliance with a 19 and 18 night. And Artest came out of nowhere with a 20-piece, including a clutch 3 that even had himself surprised. It's ironic that he was the player to do it too. He almost put the NBA in the ground and then hit one of the most memorable final shots of the 21st century. The Lakers won 83-79. And despite Kobe's poor shooting performance, it was definitely the sweetest finals win of his career. He beat the Celtics, he beat them without Shaq, and he was officially a 5-time championship winner. But as the confetti settled, the new era was officially here. Kobe had completed his arc, LeBron was becoming unstoppable, and a fresh wave of stars had arrived. Every decade tells a story, and the 2000s left us with more questions than answers. The league was grappling with life after Michael Jordan, sprinkled with unlikely risers and playoff series that left us craving more, or wishing for a different result. It's easy to look back at the 2000s after the perfection of the 90s and see a decline. But that's the thing about the 2000s. It wasn't perfect, and it didn't have to be. It was loud, messy, chaotic, and sometimes outright ridiculous, but it was alive. From Kobe carrying broken lineups with 81-point nights, to LeBron announcing himself as the generational force, to Ron Artest, Stephon Marbury, and the rest rewriting what we thought was possible. The decade thrived on unpredictability. Stars rose, fell, clashed, and sometimes just plain lost their minds. And fans were along for every wild ride. The 2000s didn't leave us with neat answers or clean dynasties. It left us with moments, characters, and games that felt raw, urgent, and unforgettable. It was imperfect, but that imperfection, that was pure basketball. And it was the kind of chaos that the world didn't know it needed. And that itself might just be perfection.
Okay, you can stop talking now, bro. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, that's the end of the video. I think I'm gonna catch y'all with another one probably like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure yet. But, yeah, well, if y'all, as y'all know recently, I forgot to mention this, but we just hit like 100 subs. Yeah, we just hit 100 subs. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's not a big goal, but it's something. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for that. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because that just shows that the channel is growing, even though it's growing a little slow. So we just gotta keep being more dedicated and keep shooting out the videos no matter what. I feel like if you basically just do this shit for yourself and don't worry about if anybody's watching your videos yet, you'll be alright. what I'm saying? Just do this like for yourself. Just sometimes go back and watch your videos and all that. Because ain't nobody gonna fuck with your shit more than you. I just really wanna let you know that. Because you know what you went through making these videos. Like yeah, you know what you went through to make these videos, and you know how you like what it took to really pop these videos out and all that. So that's one thing I'm gonna actually tell y'all too. When y'all trying to come up as a content creator, gang, just do it for yourself first. The fans gonna come when it actually shows for something. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. That's the end of the video. Catch y'all later. We out. We bipping.